superior riding experience and about 20% increase in journey time, it is proposed to introduce a very modern train in the world, train system called train sets. These are similar to bullet trains in design and can run on existing tracks without an engine to haul them. For the railways, it would be imply higher capacity, greater energy saving and increased throughput. We hope that the first set of these trains will be running on a system within the next 2 years. Based on the experience, train sets will be considered for manufacture in India. It is our endeavor to expand jobs for Indians at every level. Lifts and escalators have been planned at major stations to facilitate easy movement of elderly and differently abled persons. An amount of 120 crores has been provided for this purpose, which is about 76% more than the final allotment in the current year. 76% more. All newly manufactured coaches will henceforth be Braille enabled for the help of the blind. And Rail Coach Factory has been asked to explore the possibility of building wider entrances for the ease of differently aided passengers. Madam, I am also happy to say that we are increasing the number of days when one can book a ticket to 120 days, so that the tout menace that we always see, people going and booking it, could be reduced to a great extent. Railway has been trying to provide better amenities at all stations. I am happy to inform the House that this year we increased the allotment for passenger amenities by 67%. I request all corporates, NGOs, charitable institutions and religious institutions to come forward and invest generously for the passenger amenities. I also request all MPs to use part of their MP-led funds in improving facilities. Just here. It is with gratitude. It is with great gratitude that I mention the names of only two. Mr. P.C. Mohan, MP from Bengaluru Central, and Sri Gopal Shetty from North Mumbai, who have donated 1 crore and 1.5 crore from the MP lad for the customer amenities. I really thank them for this. Madam, our honorable members of Parliament, now this is for you. Please listen. Madam, our honorable members of Parliament represent a vast number of people and could serve as an important link between railways and the people. Local representatives are in the best position to offer solutions to satisfy local aspirations. We propose to create divisional committees in each railways to be chaired by a member of Parliament, which will serve as an important link between railways and the people of India. Madam, the second thrust area, I just completed the customer satisfaction. Second thrust area is a station redevelopment. Railway caters to all sections of society, especially the poor. Our Prime Minister has very rightly said that our railway station should be the best of the breed. We are attempting redevelopment of stations, but the efforts have not met with great success. Such an idea needs the power of imagination combined with a stable business sense. A transformed station can change the skyline of cities and bring in revenues and become an incubator for local economy. While the process for redevelopment of the already selected stations will continue, for the rest of the station, we propose to revamp the station redevelopment policy completely and simplify the process for faster redevelopment by inviting open bids from interested parties. The present stations will be available for development on as-is various basis to exploit the space and air rights on concession basis. Anyone can participate in this bidding with the designs and business ideas by providing an operational requirements of railways for running trains at these stations. All approved bids will be processed by independent experts and uploaded on the web and integrated with the best bidding practices. For quick decision making, the zonal and divisional offices will be empowered. A monitoring cell will be constituted to ensure adherence to timelines. We want our railway stations to be iconic structures with architecture reflecting the culture and character of that particular city. We invite the state governments and the local municipal bodies to be our partners in this endeavor. Most of our railway terminals located in big cities are amidst very congested areas. We propose to develop satellite railway terminals in major cities with a twin purpose of decongesting the city as well as providing service to passengers residing in suburbs. The satellite terminals will have modern facilities for originating and terminating trains, which will also briefly stop at the existing major terminals, so there is no disturbance. 10 select stations will be taken up in this year itself for this satellite terminal program in 2015-16. Madam, the third thrust area and the important one is the capacity augmentation. The key objective of our action plan of transforming the railways is to significantly expand our network capacity. Our high-density networks are congested, overstrained, and capacity constrained. Our customers are dissatisfied. Our key customers like coal, steel, and cement need new lines to transport their wares. There are inherent advantages in creating more capacity on the existing networks. It requires shorter completion time, since most of the land is already available. It is less expensive and it generates incremental revenues very quickly. This revenue then can be used to invest in our other lines. Additional benefits include higher average speed for trains, timetabling of freight trains, improved punctuality of passenger trains, and increase in carrying capacity. While last mile connectivity projects continue to be accorded the highest priority, we intend to fast track the sanctioned work on 7,000 kilometers of double, third, fourth lines and commission 1,200 kilometers in the next year itself at an investment of 8,686 crore. The budgetary allotment under the capital is 84% higher than 14-15. We also intend commissioning 800 kilometers of gauge conversion. Additionally, we have sanctioned 77 projects covering 9,400 kilometers of doubling, tripling, quadrupling works along with their electrification at a total cost of, madam, 96,182 crores, which is over 2,700% higher than the year 13-14, because the last year was the plan holiday year. Negotiations are on with financial institutions for funding of this project through extra budget resources. Honorable members of parliament will be happy to note that these projects cover almost all states. You should be happy. Traffic facility works like construction of longer loops, creating smaller block stations, building bypass lines, making crossing stations, augmenting terminals, and removing permanent speed restriction is our utmost priority. These are very small expenditure works, but they provide huge operating benefits in the shortest possible time to debottleneck and create additional capacity. In the year 2015-16, work outlay of 2,374 crores will be taken up. Madam, we are committed to provide rail connectivity to the northeastern states. I am happy to announce that Meghalaya has been brought on the railway map of India, and direct connectivity to Delhi has been provided to Arunachal Pradesh by our Honorable Prime Minister. Further, the Barak Valley will be brought on broad gauge by March this year. The work for connecting the remaining state of this region is progressing well. Indian Railways is committed to faster rail network growth in Jammu and Kashmir. The rail connectivity between Jammu region and the Kashmir Valley through the Banihal tunnel provides all weather connectivity with the rest of the country. The commissioning of Udhampur Katra was like a dream come true for millions of pilgrims. The implementation of 2 dedicated freight corridor projects on eastern and western routes is gathering pace. We will target to award 750 kilometers of civil contracts and 1,300 kilometers of system contract in 2015-16. Preliminary engineering cum traffic surveys for 4 other PFCs. Besides this, madam, 4 other DFCs, that is dedicated freight corridor, is in progress and will be completed this year. We intend to explore the idea of construction of DFC feeder routes after the trunk routes are made through private participation. In order to achieve fuel economy and also to enhance traffic output, it is necessary to accelerate the pace of railway electrification. As against a sanction of 462 route kilometers in 2014-15, a length of 6,608 route kilometers has been sanctioned for 2015-16. This constitutes an increase of 1,330% over the previous year. Expansion of freight handling capacity. Railways must expand freight handling capacity in tandem with the expansion of freight carrying network, and therefore we propose to set up Transport Logistic Corporation of India to develop common user facilities with handling and value-added services to provide end-to-end logistic solution at select railway terminals through public-private partnership. In this initial period, it has been proposed to upgrade 10 existing goods sheds and develop 30 small multimodal logistic park where railways has surplus land. For the benefit of the farmers, a state-of-art perishable cargo center is under completion at the Azadpur Mandi with a scientific banana ripening center. We have taken steps to develop the air cargo sector to facilitate and integrate the movement of air cargo between ICDs and the gateway airports. To facilitate rapid development of network of private freight terminals, a policy was issued in 2010 and revised in 2012 to invite private investment in this space. Certain issues have emerged which are discouraging further investments in PFT. We intend to address this urgently so that proliferation of these terminals is not hampered. We will in the next 3 months review the wagon leasing scheme, special freight train operator scheme, private freight terminal scheme, and liberalized wagon investment scheme for making them more liberal, broad-based and attractive to partners from private sector. We will also consider new and lighter design of wagons for better fuel efficiency and carrying capacity. Railways will also work out modalities to facilitate provision of spare railway land and redundant goods sheds on nominal license basis to partners for development of such facilities. In an effort to reduce empty flows of wagons, an automatic freight rebate scheme for traffic loaded in traditional empty flow direction has been launched recently. We propose to launch the scheme now on all India basis. Long-haul freight operations where 2 or more freight trains are combined into a single tail formation will be used extensively. Towards this end, the construction of long loop lines will be expedited. Further, the pace at which distributed power systems are to be provided on locomotive deployed on long-haul trains will be speeded up. Improving train speed. The speed of 9 railway corridors will be increased from existing 110 and 130 kilometers to 160 and 200 kilometers respectively, so that inter-metro journeys like Delhi-Kolkata and Delhi-Mumbai can be completed overnight, so my friends from West Bengal can reach early. This will also involve upgradation of track, including turnouts and rolling stock to higher standards, as well as the adoption of improved methods of track recording, monitoring and maintenance. The average speed of freight train, both in empty and loaded condition, will be enhanced. A policy of attaining speeds of 100 kilometers for empty freight trains and 75 kilometers for loaded trains is being put in place. In pursuit of objective to maximize loading in every train, the loading density on all major freight-bearing routes of railways will be upgraded to 22.82 ton axle loads. This will immediately bring in quick results, bring revenue, as well as help my friend like Anand Kumar, who transport a lot of fertilizers, as well as my friend in coal minister. Madam, we will continue to pursue with vigor our special projects like high-speed rail between Mumbai and Ahmedabad. The feasibility study for this is in advanced stage and report is expected by the mid of this year. Quick and appropriate action will be taken once the report is available with us. Regarding the other high-speed routes on the Diamond quadrilateral, studies are being commissioned and we are working on them. The transformation of railways offers huge opportunities for Make in India initiative. With increasing capacity, railways would require more locos, more wagons and more coaches. The big ticket manufacturing ideas include high horsepower and green technology locomotives, commodity specific wagons like auto carriers, signaling system and train protection system, and track laying and track maintenance machines. All this will result in creation of huge job opportunities. Functioning railways production units and workshop would be reviewed with a view to providing them a cutting edge in the manufacture of their products. Measures for technological upgradation and enhancing productivity would be undertaken to make them self-sustaining. Spare capacity in these units can be used for external customers. We propose to get a study conducted to examine this immediately. Thrust number 4, safety is of paramount importance. The loss of even single life is too high a price to pay. I offer my deepest condolences to the family of all accident victims and railway personnel who have sacrificed their lives in the line of duty. We have safety concerns on account of unmanned level crossing, manned level crossing, derailments, collisions and fire. An action plan is being prepared for each of these areas separately. We are preparing 5-year corporate safety plan ready by June 2015, that is in next 3 months, indicating annual quantifiable targets. We will examine all pending recommendations made by high-level Dr. Kakodkar committee in next 2 months, that is April 2015. Our ultimate objective to eliminate all unmanned level crossings by construction of road overbridges and road under bridges. In the short term, RDSO has been asked to develop a suitable device with a reliable power supply system based on theft through panels, batteries, in consultation with Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO, using geospatial technology for providing audio-visual warning to road users at unmanned level crossing. Further, a radio-based signal design project has been taken up with IIT Kanpur for warnings at unmanned level crossing. Keeping in view the critical need to facilitate construction of ROBs and RUBs, a web-based application has been commissioned with a user-friendly measures for online submission of approval of drawings within 60 days, and an MOU has also been signed with Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, thanks to my good friend and colleague Mr. Nitin Gadkari. I am happy to announce that in the next financial year, 970 number of ROB and RUBs and other safety-related works to eliminate 3,438 level crossings at a total railway expense of 6,581 crores have been sanctioned. This is more than 2,600% higher than the previous year, but it is the highest ever in recent times. This project covers almost all states of the nation, so nobody should be dissatisfied. To prevent fire in coaches and also to prevent coaches from climbing over each other during accident, RDSO has been asked to develop new system. We also propose to install train protection warning system and train collision avoidance system on selected routes at the earliest. To curb derailments, modern track structure consisting of sleepers and heavier rails are being used while carrying out primary track renewals. Better welding techniques could also be promoted. Further, analog machines for testing of rails are being replaced with digital type machines which are more reliable. Thrust number 5, technology upgradation. Every dynamic and thriving organization needs to innovate and reinvent its practices. In accordance with the vision of Honorable Prime Minister for Innovation, Technology Development and Manufacturing, we intend to set up an innovation council, not just for technology, for overall innovation of railways, called Kayakal, for the purpose of business re-engineering and introducing a spirit of innovation in railways. We intend to set up a technology portal to invite innovative technological solutions. We have decided to strengthen the RDSO into an organization of excellence for applied research. RDSO would collaborate with institutions of repute. We will set up in 2015-16 4 railway research centers in select universities for doing fundamental research. So they will do applied research, they will now do fundamental research. Government of India has conferred Bharat Ratnam on Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya to mark the centenary celebration of Banaras Hindu University, where Dr. Muli Modashi taught. We propose to set up Malviya Chair for Railway Technology as IIT BHU, Varanasi. This chair will help in development of new materials to be used in all assets of railway. You know, material management is an important issue. A consortium of Ministries of Railway, HRD, Science and Technology and Industry is being set up as a part of technology mission to take up identified railways project for research. We will shortly unveil an IT vision on line information and latest berth availability on running trains. An integrated mobile application, including station navigation system, etc., will be made available. Customer-friendly freight movement initiatives, such as introducing bar-coded RFID tracking of parcels and freight wagons, automated parcel warehouses, customer relationship management system, etc., will be undertaken. There will be an integration of train control and asset management application to reduce substantially the misuse. Railway proposed to move from preventive to predictive maintenance. It is proposed to explore the possibility of completely mechanized integrated track maintenance, which could bring in more efficiency. We intend to bring in state-of-art equipment for even routine examination of tracks. Thrust number 6. This is the partnership for development. We will revamp the existing PPP cell in the ministry to make it more result-oriented. PPP will help in creating more jobs in the economy, besides augmenting capital for improving the railway system. We have launched a new model concession agreement recently for many of the participative models, and guidelines for these have been issued. Projects for rail connectivity to many ports and mines are being developed under participative model. Standardization of contractual framework that ensures a level playing field, simplification of procedures and consistency of policy will be ensured. Technology intensive and complex projects like speed raising and station redevelopment required lot of handholding by specialized agency in terms of preparatory work, exploring technology options and managing bid processes. Railways has signed in the past MOUs for technical cooperation with number of foreign railways and entities. We propose to launch Foreign Rail Technology Cooperation Scheme in order to achieve the higher quality of service for our nation. The suburban rail networks are the lifeline for metro cities of Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. To meet growing demand where there is an urgent need for integrated transport solutions, we will work with all states towards this end. We propose to take up MUTP 3 from Mumbai. Expansion of railway network to remote and backward areas serves as an engine for growth and brings overall socio-economic development of the region. We propose to set up joint ventures with states for focused project development, resource mobilization, land acquisition, project implementation and monitoring of critical rail projects. I am happy to share that most of the states have conveyed their acceptance to our proposal. And madam, this is really a path-breaking thing. The states now will be able to join hands, we will be able to develop projects with them, and now, thanks to our finance minister, that large amounts of money are going to the states. Part of that can be used for this purpose. Railways have a big shelf of projects which requires to be executed at a fast pace. The expertise of railway PSUs will be used by leveraging their balance sheets to expedite the completion of identified projects within specified timelines and to undertake a higher volume of activities. It is also proposed to set up JVs with our major public sector companies who are our customers for meeting the requirements of new line. And I am very happy to say that the coal minister, oil and gas minister, the steel and cement ministers have already committed a huge thousands of crores for this purpose, which will be used for execution of works, will ensure faster completion and ultimately provide the much needed path for them to transport their produce and at the same time generate revenues for railways. Madam, thrust number 7 is improvement to management process and systems. For the delivery of the action plan, railways will require new governance structure, new delivery mechanism, extensive management reform and transparency across the board for quick decision making. I have already delegated the powers in respect of stores and work standards to general managers. I intend to further delegate, decentralize and deregulate. Rules and regulations governing freight business will be simplified and made more customer friendly. We have abolished the system of obtaining rail transport clearance from the ministry. We also intend simplifying the entire process of construction of private siding. Delegation empowerment should be accompanied with accountability and responsibility and also monitoring from the apex to ensure that organization objectives are being met. Towards this end, we propose to get a systems audit conducted for all railways in the next few months. An exercise in identification of global benchmark for key operating and maintenance activity is being carried out. We intend to improve upon the existing appraisal mechanism for the selection of project and introduce simulation tool for project planning and decision making. Further, it is proposed to introduce EPC system for contracting of all our railway projects. We have limited resources and thus must ensure that all public expenditure results in optimal outcome. We therefore intend to set up working group to modify the present system of accounting to ensure tracking of expenditure to desired outcomes. The data on costing would be available online, including cost incurred on constructing, augmenting, maintaining and operating railway lines. This will also help in undertaking post-commissioning evaluation studies. We will have the train operations audited with a view to increasing productivity and bringing in transparency. We are also proposing to expand the paperless working in our material management system. In line with focus on ease of doing business, we will digitally integrate our vendors through vendor interface management system to provide single window interface. Madam, the most important thrust 8 area is resource mobilization. Madam, railway is resource tight. This is unsustainable. Let alone capital investment, there is not even left for depreciation. Conventionally, we have looked for gross budgetary support only from one source, from the finance ministry. But this business as usual is never viable nor necessary. First, the Union government financial resources are themselves overstretched. Second, internal generation of resource will pick up when the railway reform starts. GDP growth occurs and the railways begin to attract traffic that has moved away from it. For remunerative project, it should be possible to generate resources through market borrowing, rooted through partnership with railways, PSUs and IRFC. Fourth, there are several areas where resource can be generated through PPP. Moving away from debt, some projects can be equity driven through partnership with state governments. All these lead to a simple proposition. One can leverage the resources one possesses much better. The size of the planned budget has gone up by 52% from rupees 65,798 crores to 1,11,000 crores in 2015-16. The support from central government constitutes 41.6%. The total planned budget internal generation is 17.8%. It is proposed to set up a financing cell in the railway board to make sure that we raise additional resources with taking advantage and benefit of advice from experts in the field, even from outside. For financing remunerative projects through market borrowing, it is intended to tap low-cost, long-term funds from insurance and pension funds, multilateral and bilateral agencies which can be serviced through incremental revenues. Railways will create new vehicle to crowd in investment from long-term institutional investors and other partners. This may include setting up an infrastructure fund, a holding company and a JV with an existing NBFC of a PSU with IRFC for raising long-term debt from domestic as well as overseas sources. I am happy to say there is an incredible response from domestic as well as others for this idea, including multilateral and bilateral financial institutions that have expressed keen interest in working closely with railways in this endeavor. We will monetize our assets rather than selling them. I wish to state that encroachment on railway land is a serious issue. To counter this, digitized mapping of land records has been initiated and responsibility is being fixed on officials for any encroachment. We are drawing up a comprehensive policy to tap the latent advertising potential. The new strategy would harness the avenues, including offering stations and trays for corporate bonding. This is a huge amount of money that can be raised, which can help the railways to do a better job. We are launching a coastal connectivity program this year, where railways, in partnership with concerned ports like Mr. Gadkari's ministry, will deliver rail connectivity to Nargol, Chhara, Dighi, Revas and Tuna. This program is expected to mobilize investment of approximately 2,000 crores. We propose to launch project worth 2,500 crores through BOT annuity route. This includes Wardha-Nagpur third line, Kazipet-Vijayawada third line, Bhadrak-Nargudi third line and Bhuj-Nalia gauge conversion. Scrap disposal policy of Indian Railways to ensure we get better money out of it is being completely revamped. Thrust number 9, I strongly believe that our human resource or workforce of railway is our real strength. As a part of the focused human resource strategy, measures would be adopted to raise employee productivity in line with global standard. It is proposed to pursue creation of separate accounting head for HRD and develop ERP-based human resource management system. Our frontline staff is the first point of contact with the public. We intend to start, actually it has already been started in various locations, training module on soft skills for them so that our customers feel welcome. Training in yoga will be imparted to our staff, especially from RPF. We are in the process of setting up a full-fledged university during the year 2015-16. We will take up the work of repair of staff quarters and also of RPF barracks. We will also improve the delivery of health services to our employees. For the recreational pursuit of our staff, we have decided to upgrade 4 holiday homes to begin with. Thrust area number 10, energy and sustainability. We have set up for the first time an environment directorate in railway board to increase focus on thrust on environmental management. Railway is the largest consumer of electricity and thus has a substantial potential for reducing energy consumption. Thrust will also be given for adoption of energy efficient LED luminaries, appliances, etc. A detailed energy audit is being worked out to reveal the huge potential for energy saving. Although a bulk consumer, railways pays extremely high charges for traction power. It is proposed to procure power through open bidding process at an economical tariff from generating companies, power exchanges and bilateral arrangements. This initiative is likely to result in substantial saving of at least 3,000 crores in the next few years. It is intended to expand sourcing of solar power as a part of solar mission of railways. Work is in full swing at a solar power plant in Katra station and is slated for completion in March 2015. Further 1,000 megawatt of solar plant will be set up by the developers on the railway or private land on the rooftop of railway building, and in fact we intend to cover all possible footprints of railways to harness the solar energy. We have launched a mission for water conservation, water harvesting. Water recycling plants will be set up at major water consumption center after conducting water audit. Expansion of water harvesting system will continue. All our workshops are in the process of getting accredited for environmental management. This will be extended to loco sheds, major coaching and wagon maintenance depots. The House will be happy to note that CNG-based demo have been introduced on Northern Railway, and it proposed to convert 100 demos to dual fuel, CNG and diesel. Locomotives running on LNGs are being currently under development. We are making efforts to bring in noise level of locals at par with international norms. We will demonstrate our sensitivity to wildlife by factoring in concerns related to the environment. Madam, we need to invest in Indian Railways also because it is necessary for our ecological sustenance. The annual consumption of fuel by the railways is just about 7% of the annual fuel consumption by the road sector. The energy consumption is about 75% or 90% less for freight traffic when compared to road. The carbon dioxide emission is about 80% less than road. Investment in Indian Railways is an investment in our future. It is an investment in our sustainability. It is investment for posterity. Madam, thrust area number 11 is transparency and governance initiative. As the honorable members of the House are aware, we recruit various categories of employees through 21 recruitment boards. As a major transparency initiative, the system of online application has been introduced for 2 categories as a pilot project. It is proposed to extend this further to include all future recruitments. Corruption at all levels continue to affect the common man. We are working on solutions to address this menace. In order to provide thrust to transparency, e-procurement value chain has been expanded to cover all divisions, depots, workshops. Railways currently is the only rail-based trans-city infrastructure provider and operator in the country. Therefore, for the purpose of orderly development of infrastructure services, enabling competition and protection of customer interest, it is important to have a regulation mechanism independent of the service provider. It is now proposed to set up a mechanism which will be entrusted with making regulation, setting performance standards and determining tariffs. It will also adjudicate on disputes among licensee, private partners and the ministry subject to review in appeal. Even as we pursue the transformation agenda, Railway will continue to honor its wider obligation to the nation. With this in mind and keeping with our government's higher priority on skill development, with its vast spread, we will continue by making available its infrastructure like stations and training centers for skill development. A huge talent of skilled personnel and the services are available for the national cause. To encourage self-employment, we will promote products made by self-help groups consisting mainly of women and youth. Konkan Railway has already launched this program in 3 states during the past 3 months. Konkan Railway expects to generate self-employment for approximately 50,000 persons from this scheme in the next few years. Tourism holds a great potential for job creation and economic development of region. We will join this effort of Incredible Rail for Incredible India. We have successfully experimented on Konkan Railway tourism promotion through training of auto rickshaws and taxi operators as tourist guides, since they are the first point of contact for the passengers. We intend replicating this at major tourist destinations. We propose to explore the possibility of offering some coaches in select trains connecting major tourist destinations to travel agencies on a revenue sharing model. I have the honor to recall that this year we are celebrating 100 years return of Mahatma Gandhi from South Africa to India. IRCTC will work on promoting Gandhi circuit to attract tourists to mark this occasion. To help farmers to learn about the new farming and marketing techniques, IRCTC will work on Kisan Yatra, a special travel scheme. The financial performance for year 2014-15 and budget estimates of receipts and expenditure of 15-16 are at Annex 2. The actions in the 11 thrust areas which are described cannot remain mere policy pronouncement. Railways cannot function as business as usual mode. We have to gear up to face the future challenges. I will ensure that Railway delivers quantifiable and visible improvements. Our most critical initiative will be pursued in a mission mode under direct oversight and designated senior official as ministry as a mission director. A similar structure will be replicated in all zonal railways. I will personally monitor on all major thrust areas. I am confident that I have the support of 13 lakh dedicated men and women in this endeavour. Madam, at present, due to overutilized line capacity and backlog on track renewals, there are speed restrictions which lead to delay in running of more number of trains. And I want to give more trains as we have more demand from everybody. The review is being done, will be completed soon, so that we can announce new trains and increase frequency in this session of Parliament itself. Swami Vivekananda once said, take up one idea, make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea, and just leave every other idea alone. This is the way to success, unquote. For me, that idea is a transformation of railways. We can and we will turn the railways around. We will fulfill the Prime Minister's vision for the railway. We seek the support of all of you in this national endeavour to hold the key to transformation of India itself. Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. With these words, Madam Speaker, I commend the railway budget for 2015-16 to the August House.
I beg to move with your permission.
Yes, Saugat Raji.
With your permission, Madam, I rise to move for leave to withdraw a bill further to amend the Citizenship Amendment Bill 2014 on behalf of my colleague Sri Haribhai Chaudhary.
Yes.
under Rule 111, I have given a notice opposing the motion to withdraw the bill. This withdrawal effort shows the way the government is functioning. So, Madam, on, I think in December 2014, 19 December 2014, the government had introduced a citizenship amendment bill. Then, within 15 days, they introduced on 6 January 2015, they introduced a citizenship amendment ordinance 2015. Now, when they introduced the bill, did they not think that it needed changes? Now, if and I noticed the two bills. There is the bill and the ordinance. Now, the government cannot bring a law, being a bill, to replace the ordinance because the former act is still there in the house. So they have come for withdrawing. So I want to want clarification from the government as to why they are withdrawing the bill introduced on 19 December and wanting to move another bill. The government has not clarified. I have noticed very carefully that the bill and the ordinance introduced later, they are almost identical. What is the change for which the same government within 15 days removes the act and introduces an ordinance? This is not the way a government should function.
Yes.
When it brings a bill to this august house, it should be clear. And I noticed, Madam, that when the bill was introduced, it was introduced by H.S. Haribhai Parthabhai Chaudhary. And now I find that Mr. Kiran Rijiju is moving this withdrawal motion. I would like a clarification from the government before they go to withdraw the bill. This is a new style the government is having.
Yes.
Within 15 days it brings an ordinance, then it wants
Don't
to
repeat it.
replace the original
Yes,
bill.
Kiran.
This is
Please.
రైట్ 2015-16 గాను పూర్తి స్థాయి రైల్వే బడ్జెట్ ను సురేష్ ప్రభు ప్రవేశపెట్టారు. ఒక చిన్న బ్రేక్ తీసుకుందాం. బ్రేక్ తర్వాత అప్డేట్స్ చూద్దాం.
ఇప్పుడు ప్రతి 20 రూపాయల మంగళదీప్ శాండిల్ ప్యాక్ తో పొందండి 5 రూపాయల విలువ గల ఒక క్లాస్మేట్ పెన్ ఉచితంగా.
ఎండ తెలియకుండా, కష్టం తెలియకుండా, నొప్పి తెలియకుండా, ఆకలి తెలియకుండా, కన్నీరు తెలియకుండా, కాళ్ళు నేల మీద పడకుండా గుండెల్లో పెట్టి పెంచారా మా ముగ్గురు అత్తల్ని మా నాన్న.
ఎవరేమి అంటున్నా, ఎవరేమి చేస్తున్నా, అనుబంధమే నాడు తీరనిది. నేనున్నా ఈ రోజు, నేలేని ఆ రోజు, అనురాగం అనురాగం తీయనిది.
నువ్వు మీసం ఉన్న మగాడివైతే చేసి చూపించురా.
ఈసం ఉన్న వాళ్ళంతా మగాళ్ళు గారు. పంతం వస్తేనే పంబర్ రేకొట్టేవాడి. మరి మీరు పందెం కట్టారు, పుచ్చెలు లేపేస్తాను చూడండి.
కూరలో కారం ఎక్కువైంది. ఎన్నిసార్లు చెప్పాను నీకు ఎంత అవసరమో అంతే వేయాలని.
నా వల్లైతే ఇలా అప్పుడప్పుడు అవుతుంది, కానీ మీరైతే పొలంలో మీకు తోచిన క్రిమి సంహారకాలని వాడేస్తారు. మరి దాని సంగతో
ఉన్నమాటేగా అంటోంది కోడలు. చూడు, పొలంలో ఎంత అవసరమో అంతే మందు వెయ్యి.
గుర్తుంచుకోండి, క్రిమి సంహారకాలు విషపూరితాలు. డబ్బా పైన రాసిన సూచనల ప్రకారమే మందు వేయాలి.
ముందు ఫెరమోన్ ట్రాప్, లైట్ ట్రాప్, మిత్ర కీటకాలు, జైవిక క్రిమి సంహారకాలు వంటివి ఉపయోగించాలి. అవసరమైతేనే రసాయనిక క్రిమి సంహారకాలు ఉపయోగించాలి. మందు చల్లడం పొద్దున కానీ సాయంత్రం కానీ చేతి తొడుగులు, మాస్క్ ఇంకా పొడుగు చేతుల చొక్కా వేసుకుని చేయాలి. గాలి వీచే దిశలో చల్లుతూ వెనక్కి నడవాలి. మందు డబ్బాలు, చల్లే యంత్రాలు సురక్షితమైన చోట ఉంచాలి.
ఇప్పుడైనా అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది భార్యామణి. ఇక చెయ్యను ఇలాంటి పిచ్చి పని.
తాగించిందా నీకు 3 చెరువులు నీళ్లు?